So just what are pre-dubs? What are temp mixes? Why are they important? And what happens in them? Well, today we're going to talk about why taking time to get familiar with your audio elements will make your final mix much faster. Hey friends, welcome to another episode of Mastering Post-Production Sound. My name is Joel. I am a sound recording mixer. I've been part of the post-production sound industry for the past 16 years, and I'm here to help you navigate the murky waters of the post-production sound industry. We're going to talk about mixes that not many people talk about. We're talking temp mixes and pre-dubs. What the heck are they? Well, it just happens to be that I find myself currently, as of the filming of this video, in pre-dubs for a final mix. So I thought, you know what would be really cool is, what about talking and dissecting a little bit the process of what pre-dubs are, and even going before that, what temp mixes are. This is an experience that I'm currently experiencing right now, what I experienced this year. And so since it's fresh in my head, why not share my experiences with you? So just what is a temp mix? Well, let's talk a little bit about what that is. So when a film gets the green light, they go and they shoot their film. The production mixer, which production mixers out there, hardest job in the world. You guys and gals are amazing at what you do. I could not do it. But when you guys go out, they go and they shoot a film, a whole crew, they wrap it up and then it goes into post. And then, you're getting the dailies, the picture editor's there, going through all the stuff. And usually a picture editor will probably be cutting at the same time as production is rolling. That being said, you finally get to the place where you have a rough cut of a film. And now it's time to do what we call a temp dub, a temp mix. It's basically what it sounds like. It's a temporary mix. And so the way this goes is the picture editor has worked diligently for weeks and weeks and weeks with the director to get their first vision of this film, this story that is the heart and soul of director. It is now in picture form, and it's a rough cut. You're often going to find lines that have noise on them. It's not the perfect audio. It's just to get it there and get it in front of an audience, get it tested to see like, hey, what do we have here? And so what happens is usually in a budget for a film, they will go ahead and schedule a temp mix for the first cut. And the idea is this. The idea is that the director wants to get this film in front of eyes. They want to get feedback. Do they like it? Is it a good story? Should I change something? It's always nice to present a preview or a screening of a first cut, rough cut of a film with a little polish. And you may have temporary visual effects that are going on and some lines that maybe, the assistant editor has recorded on an iPhone and put into the Avid. But one thing that we could do as sound professionals is to provide a temp dub, a temp mix. And this is generally a really, quick mix going through the film with a pretty general dialogue edit, sound effects edit, no Foley really, just something that's there. It's like they almost take what has come out of the picture editor's Avid bay and spruce it up a little bit. Then what happens is after they do a couple, days of editorial, could be a week, a couple weeks, they pass it off to mixers like myself to then sit in front of all these materials to balance the dialogue, balance the music. The music is probably changing. It's temp score. It's, some awesome Hans Zimmer cue or score that we can't use, but it's just to get the rough idea. We want to get it in front of people, so why not have it sound pretty decent instead of the cut that's going to come out of the Avid. So once the sound team has put together a little bit of an edit from what the editor and assistant editor have turned over, it's now our job to balance all the tracks. We take the rough dialogue, we take the music, the temporary music, some of the sound effects, and now we sit on a stage, much like this one, anywhere from 3 to 5 days to get through a really quick, rough, down and dirty mix of this film so that when they present it to an audience, it can at least not bump them and they can focus on the story. They can hear the words and hear, music, even if it's not intended, it's not going to, be in the final film. It gives the audience a feeling of what the director's vision is. And so the temp mix is exactly what it says. It's a temporary mix. It's that first experience with sound. And so we sit here on the stage and we go through the tracks one by one. The dialogue tracks. Usually we don't have any ADR. We have some temporary ADR. Like I said, sometimes someone's recording it on an iPhone. And we'll go through some of the backgrounds. And mind you, it's not fully built out. It has, a couple tracks of backgrounds, couple, sound effects, couple tracks music, the dialogue, obviously. But it's not going to be a full-on, detailed, final edit for sound. So we go through that, and like I said, it's going to take you a couple days. Some temps can be 2 days. Some temps can be 4 days, 5 days. It just depends on what's in the budget and what has been agreed upon with the director and the post supervisor. So once we get through our couple days for this temp dub, we go ahead and we print it and we get it prepared so that it can then be delivered digitally to be married with a DCP, digital cinema package. They go ahead and they take our audio, they marry it with the picture, and it lives on a hard drive, and now that is the master rough cut. They'll take that to a screening room and show it to executives, friends, family, get some eyeballs and some opinions on it. Your temp mixes are going to vary in number. It could be 1 temp, it could be 2, it could be 3, it could be 4, it could be, who knows, 5 temps. It just really depends. As each version of the film gets tweaked on, it matures. And so does the sound mix. You'll have that first temp mix ready to present to people. Well, another awesome thing about this whole experience in working in film is that you get to be part of, or rather I've been able to get to be part of, the focus groups, in the sense, and what I mean is the opportunity where they are showing this film to a real audience to get real people's opinion, not just, your friend or an executive. These are real people. You're sitting there with the people. They're reacting, they're laughing, they're crying, they're getting scared. And that process is really fascinating. You sit in a theater, you play your temp mix, get there early in the morning, you set it up with the crew, of course they're playing it, off of a drive. And now it's time to present this to get the feedback. And oftentimes what will happen in a preview is the production will hire a focus group to come in and ask questions, more deeper questions about the film. Did you like the character? Was this slow? Would you recommend this movie to anybody you know? They get a lot of information from these screenings and these focus groups. So what would happen after that is they'll get a score, and based off that score, they're going to try to change things, make it better. Like maybe they didn't laugh at that joke, so they're going to take that and experiment and take it out. So the editor and director will now get this information, and they'll go back to work. They're going to create their second rough cut of the film. So Then what happens is they might add a scene back in that they originally cut out. Maybe they swap it with a different scene. So what's going to happen is you have this first pass cut that now undergoes another change. So guess what? You can't use the master 6-track or the 5.1 surround sound mix with the next cut because it's going to be out of sync. Things are going to be chopped up. So this goes under a process that we call conforming. We're going to have to conform now our audio and our elements to this latest version. And then we'll go ahead and go through similar process that we did for Temp 1, now calling it Temp 2. In Temp 2, we take everything that we've had prior, all the work that we did, the Pro Tools sessions, all the audio, and we add things to the new sections. Then we have to, since things are cut and moved around, we have to move that material with it so that it doesn't go out of sync. So we'll go back on the mix stage for a couple more days and we'll massage those bumpy areas where we did some conforming, and we'll go ahead and do the whole process and get it sounding awesome. So then our director can take it and go to Temp 2 screening and show more people, get more feedback, and the process can then repeat itself. Maybe some more changes. If there's more changes, then you're going to have to do a Temp 3. And so that's what I've found myself doing this summer is we're working on a feature and we've done 3 temps. And what happens, what's really awesome about the temp mix process is you're laying the groundwork for the final mix. The final mix, you're going to be able to sit down and have more time to really get detailed. And that takes us to the pre-dub. What is the pre-dub? The pre-dub is sort of the pre-mixing stage to your final mix. This is the time where you sit down with all the elements that you have previously mixed in Temp 1, Temp 2, or Temp 3, depending on how many temps you've had for that particular film. And now the editors have had more time to really get detailed with their sound effects, with their background. Now you have Foley that has been recorded by a Foley artist and a Foley team. So now you have these elements. The dialogue has now been edited. The ADR has been shot and put into the movie. The loop group has been recorded. The score has been written and recorded at an awesome place. And now it's all ready to get together. So we sit down often in separate stages so that we have no distractions. We can just hear what's going on, and we go through all those elements. And it's not the first time that we've sat down to hear these elements, right? We've already heard it in Temp 1, 2, and 3. So now we're taking more material. It's more finalized. We carry all the stuff that we've worked, the stems with us, the original units, the original audio, but now it goes deeper. Now there's more detail to our soundtrack. We have more things to work with. And so this is a great process because it sets you up. It helps to make the final mix much quicker. Because think about this. If for the first time you're sitting down to mix a film and it's like, hey, this is it, we're ready, you could possibly be sitting down to hundreds and hundreds of sound effects tracks, backgrounds, tons of tracks where you're now going to have to try to manage that for the very first time for, let's say, a 3-week mix. Oh my gosh, that's going to be not only overwhelming, it's going to feel impossible. So the pre-dubs allow us to sit down with the material that we've had previously, that we've already kind of become accustomed to, we've become familiar with, and now we go deeper. And now we can sit and take the whole day to work on the first reel. Basically, a reel a day. If you're working with a film that's like a 5-reel film, you get the whole day to just dial in the backgrounds, the Foley, the dialogue, the score. How does it sound? Let me experiment with some space. What if I put more in the surrounds? What if I move this here, pan this there, try this EQ, try this reverb? This gives us time to really set ourselves up for the final mix. Because again, if we sit down with all those elements for the first time on the final mix, it's going to be overwhelming. The pre-dubs allow us to get a hold of that material and make it more manageable so we know where everything is, so that when we do enter the final mixing stage, which in our experience will take the dialogue mixer, the effects mixer, and now we'll be in the same room and we'll go ahead and start the final mix process. So that's a little bit about temp dubs, pre-dubs, why they're important, what goes on in them, and how it helps us speed up the process for the final mix. I want to thank you for hanging out in another episode of Mastering Post-Production Sound. If you are new here, please consider subscribing to the channel. Leave a comment below. If you found this video insightful or helpful, by all means, please share it with someone that you think could use it. Again, thanks for joining me, and I will see you in next week's episode.